Hello, my lovelies. It's January, and you know what that means, don't you? It means that loads of people are decluttering and getting organized, or at least trying to. So I thought I would share my 2 cents about that because, like everyone else, I'm working on that too. What's interesting is how different personalities approach decluttering, from planning to execution to follow up. It's a fascinating process, and when you understand that every personality type does it differently, you'll see why we often have conflict with those we love about decluttering an organization and how to avoid it to create a space that everyone can live in comfortably, happily, and harmoniously. For those who are new to the podcast, when I talk about personalities, I use the DISC personality model of behavior, and we refer to people as D or driven, I or inspired, S or supportive, and C or cautious. To start, it helps to look at the motivation for each personality type to declutter and organize. For the D personality, decluttering and organizing is a challenge to be conquered. The I personality, if they know themselves well, knows that the more clear spaces they create, the more focused they can be. For the S personality, they want to create a space that supports their family well, or if they don't have a family in their home, a space where people can gather peacefully and comfortably. And for the cautious personality, it's all about things being in their proper place. So how do they each actually declutter? For the driven person, it's a thrill to go through things and toss them out to make room for the new. They tend not to be sentimental, so they may throw away things that others might be horrified over, like family portraits and heirlooms, which can cause conflict with other family members who find those things valuable. So it's best not to put those people in charge of family treasures. It's not that they're heartless, they merely lack the sentimentality of others, and they will not miss the items like others will. Their mantra is toss, 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 until they only have the things that they need and want around them. The challenge comes when they get rid of things that others in their life find valuable. This happened after my father passed away, and my mom was packing to move to another house. My mom is not particularly sentimental, and one day I stopped by our house and all of our family portraits were in the garbage. I was horrified. My mom's response was that I was welcome to take anything I wanted, but she was done with them. I didn't realize it then, but I did later that trait also explains why there were no boxes of artwork or keepsakes from our childhood. And when my brother and I moved into our first homes after college, we took everything we thought we might want. Otherwise, it was going in the trash. The one exception to this is if the D personality thinks that something might have monetary value. And again, it's not because they're heartless. They just think about life differently. Now, please understand that these are the tendencies of a driven personality. And D personalities often end up with people in their lives who are very sentimental, who are collectors. So they can either learn how others see things, or they're going to end up very frustrated unless they come up with a compromise of some kind. For example, I know many driven moms that are seriously aggravated and irritated by the amount of artwork their kids bring home because they don't want to display it. There are a few solutions I've seen driven moms use to minimize that clutter. And though we're talking about the driven mom, this is definitely going to work for other personality types too. One of the solutions is to get a frame and or a shadow box. And there are some you can buy where there's a combination that opens from the front to display artwork. That means you don't even have to take it off the wall to change it. Then the child gets to decide what artwork they want displayed, and it's easy to replace or rotate or however they want to do it. That keeps things corralled and gives the child the power to change what's displayed. I've included a link in the show notes of what I'm talking about. And then when the child takes a piece out of the frame, they can take a picture of it. And some families create an album, especially for the child's artwork. Some parents put a cork board or a magnetic whiteboard in their child's room to display their art. And some use the pictures that they take of their children's artwork to create lovely books that display the pictures or the art without taking up wall space or floor space or whatever. If you have other ideas, I'd love to hear them. Put them in the comments or send me an email at what's up at movingtowardbetter.com. Would love to hear about it. And as I said earlier, for the I personality, as we move on to them, if they know themselves well, they know that clear spaces translate into better focus, better energy, and better output in every area of their lives. No matter how well an I personality knows themselves, they will never erase their tendency to allow clutter to amass unless they find cleaning and organizing fun, which they rarely do unless they have someone to work with to get it all done. They want clear spaces. They really do. But the clutter seems to multiply on its own when they look the other way, they look back and there's a pile. Where did that come from? And if you've followed me for a while, you know that it's a regular occurrence that I have a kitchen table that gets cluttered. That used to frustrate me so much. But now I have a system that deals with that. And for me, I've realized that clutter happens no matter how I live. But having clutter is not a moral failing. It's merely a fact of life with my personality type. And before anyone comes for me, please hear me out. I know some personality types think that I just need to have a better system or process to keep my table clear. I used to think the same thing. And I beat myself up over it for years. But guess what? That didn't work either, because I've learned that we cannot criticize ourselves into success, but we can encourage ourselves into transformation. And that feels so much better than criticizing ourselves. You see, I've gotten to the point that I can clear that table in 15 minutes, pretty much no matter what it looks like. And once that happens, it's amazing how everything else starts to fall into place in every area of my life, because I start to feel that little bit of control. And one of the most powerful things I learned about clutter is that clutter is the result of unmade decisions and or a lack of follow through. Some of you may be thinking, well, duh, because you know that. But I was someone who grew up in a house without clutter. So when I had to deal with my own clutter, neither my mom nor I was equipped to deal with it effectively. And that's part of why I do what I do. My born organized, task-oriented mom could not understand her free spirit, people-loving daughter. And it caused more conflict than it needed to, especially since a psychology expert, and I'm putting that in air quotes, that my mom saw interviewed said to simply shut the door of your child's room. And at some point there, again in air quotes, natural sense of and need for order would take over. Not a chance, my friends, because it doesn't exist. Not for me. So what are the solutions for the I person? For me and most people-oriented people that I know, working with someone, again, is a huge help. And we need someone who can push us without destroying us, because if you push a people-loving person too far, they're going to shut down or they're going to explode. And in either case, it's not helpful. I have addressed this further in both a blog post and one of my earlier podcasts. I'll share both of those links also in the show notes. But the bottom line for someone with the I personality is to get them help and make it as much fun as possible. And I can hear people already saying that not everything needs to be fun, but I'm telling you that if you inject some fun into the process, the I personality will jump in and do more than you can imagine. For me, if I don't have someone to talk to, I listen to music, or I keep sessions short by working with a timer. It took years to figure that out, but it definitely helps me, and I'm sure it will help other I personalities as well. Moving on to the supportive personality, they also benefit from help in the areas of decluttering and organization, but the person that helps them needs to understand the level of sentimentality that the S personality has. And that definitely ranges from person to person. You see, I once helped a friend to declutter. And even as a person with a good helping of sentimentality in my own personality mix, I was shocked at how much resistance my friend had to throwing out even the smallest things. I honestly thought her problem was like mine, overwhelm, because there was so much to go through. That wasn't it. And it wasn't until I picked up something that fit in the palm of my hand that was broken and I thought was absolutely insignificant and said, I can throw this away, right? That I realized the level of the sentimentality that people can attach to objects. My friend was horrified that I would even consider throwing out that little thing because someone who had passed had given that to one of her children. And even though she wouldn't have known where the item was if I hadn't asked her about it before I found it, when my friend saw it, she absolutely couldn't part with it. This is also why I find the show Hoarders so fascinating, because so many of the people on Hoarders are S personalities, and the hoarding almost always results from a traumatic event in the hoarder's life. And they do everything they can to create this wall of protection around them with things. And when a friend or relative tries to help them, it creates so much fear that the hoarder absolutely freaks out. And it's only when you get to the root of why the person started hoarding in the first place that something happens. Before that, nothing changes. And some people aren't ready to face that yet. If they are ready, magic can happen. I've seen so many transformations, and I know for sure that clutter in all of its forms is an opportunity for transformation, no matter what your personality type. But none so much as the S personality type, because they love their people so much that they naturally imbue things with the love that they have for the person. But when they can temper that so that they can adequately and lovingly display those items, rather than shoving them in a closet or finding them at the bottom of a pile, then they're truly letting those items shine. And then they bring joy at all times, not just when they happen to find them in a frenzied search for something else that's probably going to get them distracted from what they were originally looking for in the first place. Moving on to the C or cautious personality. For them, it's all about things being in their proper place. What gets in their way is they want things perfect. They want it perfect in the planning, in the execution, and so perfectionism can keep them from starting or finishing or both. It might sound weird, but circling back to the show Hoarders, perfectionism is often the greatest obstacle to getting people to start decluttering, because there's a system, an organization to the items in a home. It rarely makes sense to anyone other than the hoarder or the person with the clutter. It seems unfathomable that perfectionism has any role in that. But for those in the overwhelm of those messes, perfectionism shows up in so many ways. I can't do that right now because I don't have time to finish. I need to get some bins, shelves, boxes, or some other tool so I have a way of organizing everything. I know what I want to do, but I need to figure out how I want this to look. I've almost got it figured out. I just need to tweak it a little bit. Look, the cautious personality is hands down the best planning personality out there. But when they're out of balance, they can get so lost in the planning that they never launch. And if they do launch, they might not be able to stop because the C personality knows that it's never perfect and they can always make it better. And it may look perfect to the rest of the world, except for other C personalities who see the same issues that they see. Again, this isn't to run down the cautious personality. It's to point out the places where a C personality can get stuck in the process. When the C personality is on point, though, it's amazing what they can do. I know a C personality who owns more shoes than anyone I've ever met. And for nearly all of them, they still store them in their original boxes. Can you imagine that? They also have many of the toys from their kids' childhood. And they even still have all the pieces to the games. I'm lucky to have a few things that didn't get destroyed. So I am completely in awe of that. That's the amount of order that the imbalanced C personality can bring to the world. And goodness knows we need people out there like that to keep us all in line, right? So, do you see your personality here? Most of us are a mix of 2 or more, and some of us even get to deal with 3. A very few are what we call a level blend, and that is a very small percentage who have we all have all 4 of the personality types in varying amounts. But the level blend has them exactly that, level. It's a very rare thing. But whatever the situation your personality plays, it's in nearly everything you do. And the better you know yourself, the better your life gets. So learning how the people you love move through the world and learning about yourself improves everything exponentially because you reduce frustration and you maximize success, fun, peace, and order in all you do. So are you ready to get started on that journey? If so, go to the Moving Toward Better website, hit that Take Your Assessment button, and after you do, schedule your personalized personality strategy session. If you've already done an assessment with me, I have a special tune-up offer for everyone on my email list. So if you're not on that list, again, head over to the Moving Toward Better homepage and join the email community. There are so many wonderful things coming in 2024, and you need to be there. You need to be a part of this journey. So sign up and find out what's going on. Love you all. See you soon.
At Moving Toward Better, it's our mission to help you unlock a fantastic life, powered by what's unique and authentically you. To learn how we can help you in your quest, head over to movingtowardbetter.com to check it out or use the links in the show notes. Thanks for listening, thanks for being you, and have a great day. Love you all.